All right. Oh, my dear God.
Hello.
It is, it's Tuesday afternoon, evening at this point. It's like 7. It's a beautiful day out. We're outside doing this for once. Welcome to the Sportculation podcast. I am your host, Yusuf, flanked, as usual, by, of course, Mr. Anton Wong.
Hello.
And he's wearing a mask because we're actually doing this in the same area for the first time in months now. Mr. Parse Cottrell.
Hey.
Be safe. COVID is still a thing, people. Wash your hands. Don't do what, like, the states are doing at this point.
Yeah, the pictures of those schools in Georgia or wherever.
Did you hear about the motorcycle rally that went down?
Yeah, in North Dakota.
Something like that, yeah. One of the Dakotas, like, come on.
But yeah.
You have non-maskers everywhere. You have a bunch of Karens.
But we're here not to talk about COVID. We're here to talk about the thing that is going on during COVID. Hockey. More importantly,
Being in Toronto. This was, I'd have to say, probably a very unsatisfying thing. Like those FIFA World Cup host countries, when they have to watch other countries play the rest of the tournament, but you're out because you didn't make it through.
Feels like that.
This is what it feels like.
Feels like that right
now we know.
You guys, I was thinking about this like yesterday or the day before that. I think maybe like after the loss. Remember the 2014 World Cup when Germany kicked the living crap out of Brazil?
Yes.
And Brazil was the host country?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's what this feels like.
And Brazil has to watch someone else hoist the cup.
Yeah.
And
not to mention Germany won, too.
In
Brazil.
Yeah.
Stadium.
And
yeah.
It's not even that. Like, this is even worse. Like, we have to watch the rest of it.
Yeah.
It's not like one more game is done. You're literally watching the whole entire thing.
Oh, yeah. So for context, if you don't know what we're talking about, the first round, the preliminary round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Stanley Cup qualifiers, have been completed. And guess who didn't make it through?
Yeah, we didn't qualify.
Toronto.
The Toronto Maple Leafs. So...
Also,
the whole city.
Yeah. Also,
who didn't qualify was the other hub city,
the Edmonton Oilers. Thanks, Parse.
Hey, I'm surprised. We should definitely talk about that too. But I'm surprised as a Chicago fan.
Let's talk about that right now before I burst into flames.
Go Hawks, go! The reason for it is all about experience.
Speaking of flames, I'm about to burst into flames.
Yeah, this
Calgary Flames got it done, but it was a Canadian affair.
It's
okay.
So
the Jets just weren't that great. I mean, they played one good game.
Yeah, they were missing a ton of their core.
They played one good game. That was it.
So, the Toronto Maple Leafs played the Columbus Blue Jackets as part of this qualifying tournament thing.
Mm-hmm.
They were the only series to go 5 games, and they still blew it.
Yeah, the Toronto Maple Leafs is there's a couple words to describe it, but the number one that came up to me was disappointing. And you have a team that you put four players, your top players. You're talking about guys you're paying $12, $11, $10 million per to play for you for a multitude of years. And probably one of the best scoring lines put together. You have John Tavares. You have the to soon be the captain.
Assuming Tavares isn't captain anymore.
Tavares isn't captain anymore.
Austin
Matthews. And you have Mitch Marner on the side. Mitch Marner, one of the fastest skaters in the league. And you can't score? In Game 5, you can't score.
That was crazy.
You can't score with that. But Anderson playing pretty well in net until the second period.
Okay, so to just recap this series, it was 5 games. Game 1, it was such a wild series now that I look back at it. Game 1, Columbus wins in a shutout 2-0. Game
Dominance.
2, Toronto wins in a shutout 3-0.
Dominance.
Not bad. Game 3.
Yeah, that was a goose egg.
Toronto has a 3-0 lead going into the third. What could possibly go wrong?
The same thing that goes on every year in a series. They decide to not play the third period.
And Columbus ties it up with about 2 minutes left in the third and then wins it in overtime.
It's a very Toronto thing to do, which is like where we're very good at the very beginning of a season or a game, and then we mess it up. It's either that or the other way around. We're either good at making comebacks or letting the other team make a good comeback.
Speaking of comebacks, Game 4 was a comeback.
Yes.
We were down 0-3 and tied it up.
And that felt like the series was everything was in our hands.
I thought our momentum was going to shift. I thought when they made it 3-3 at the end of the third and won it in overtime, I'm like, this is it. We're taking Game 5.
We're taking Game 5. You're potentially taking this momentum throughout the entire Stanley Cup.
Oh, yeah.
Playoffs.
And not to mention, Jake Muzzin got hurt. Zach Werenski, the starting defenseman for Columbus, he was hurt at the end of Game 4. Didn't know if he was going to play Game 5. He ends up playing Game 5. No one knows if he's going to be 100%. And then Toronto got shut out again.
They came out guns blazing, actually, in my opinion, in the first.
Well,
in the first 4 minutes.
Their first line for Toronto was Matthews, Tavares, Marner.
4 minutes, it looked very much in their favor, and something happened with that penalty, and then it was really flat. And you could just tell that Toronto was either gassed or they just wasn't in sync. They let in that first goal off a really bad change, a change where you're supposed to have communication. And we talk about Toronto and their mishaps and their just complacency for losing track of what's going on the ice. That's a sheer example of that first goal. Somebody's left in your own zone, and Anderson's wondering why there's a guy over there unmarked.
Yeah.
Before he stops the puck, but no.
And
But this is another thing. Before he even stops the puck, usually your goaltender stop the puck. He's like, no. Why is that guy over there open? Oh, he shot at me.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's a goal.
The Nets. Oh, the
that's
ball's
your
in.
fault.
Right between the legs.
And we'll get to this in a minute after we discuss our griefs about this game and this whole team. But you got to admit that at the end of the day, the Toronto Maple Leafs were number 1, heavily outplayed. And number 2, they just couldn't handle Columbus defense.
Yeah, I feel like Columbus was buzzing a lot better, and yeah, the defense was pretty good, but not even just the defense. We have to give a shout out to their goaltender.
Oh,
because he did a tremendous job in Game 5.
Outstanding.
I felt like his Game 5 performance was better than Game 1.
Yeah, like genuine brick wall.
Yeah, like he there was a moment where I think it was Marner who rushed.
Yeah.
And he took a shot at him, and like that guy just did not let anything through.
There was a 2-on-1 chance in the second period.
Yep.
I think it was the Marner shot you're talking about. If I can't remember off the top of my head. I believe it was. He was shooting on the left-hand side. So if you're coming down, it was right to left. Not him in with the puck, but he got a pass. Yeah. And he shot the one-timer. I thought for sure that's a goal. The goaltender can't slide in fast enough. But he did. He did. And he was even able to get the rebound. I mean, the amount of times that he was able to get those stops. I mean, there was a power play, 5-on-4. They had a bunch of chances. The shots at one point was 22-16.
Yeah.
It's absurd to think that the amount of power play opportunities the Toronto Maple Leafs were, like, I don't want to say were given, but had gotten from Columbus, and they could not capitalize on most of them.
So I guess where we want to start off with this was, how do you guys feel about this disappointment? Is this a regular thing? Boston is Boston, and I like to put Boston in its own category, but we've come to the point to expect some of this mediocrity from time to time, and it's bad.
First round out.
We have yet to win a first round series.
It wasn't even the first round.
We've yet to win a series as Toronto Maple Leafs. We've yet to win a series. You have your other counterparts in the Air Canada, well, not Scotiabank Arena now.
Yeah.
Winning championships.
Yeah, they are
second in the East.
Champs.
Dropping 110 points on anybody. Not scared of the Bucks. And then
not scared at all.
You're in the same building and you cannot get out of I don't know what to say. I really don't know. This is disappointing.
Yeah,
I think
it does suck.
So I was out the night of Game 5 with some friends. We watched the game. We were coming back, and I seriously think that this might be more embarrassing than the losses to the Bruins.
It is.
I seriously think this is worse.
This is the
Most
same
definitely.
feeling that Tampa felt last year.
Now we know
Columbus is not that team. Let's be honest.
No,
they're not going to make it to the They're not gonna make it to the finals, I don't think.
It would take a miracle.
It would take a lot.
Here's the thing about Columbus. Columbus is a team that has outstanding defense and unbelievable goaltending. Like, underrated goaltending.
Underrated.
Both of them should be nominated for the Vezina next season. Like,
yeah,
seriously, they should be. It's unreal.
This was Carey Price-esque.
Yeah, but offense? No, Columbus isn't really known for their offense anymore. Last year, yeah, they had, Artemi Panarin and Matt Duchene, but those guys left the team. What do they got? Gus Nyquist, Nick Foligno, Cam Atkinson, Pierre-Luc Dubois. Pierre-Luc Dubois, who, by the way, had a hat trick in their comeback game in Game 3, as if this couldn't get any worse. But they're not a hot goal-scoring team. They're not known for that. But the fact of the matter is they proved that in the playoffs, you need defense to succeed.
Oh, definitely. When your offense, especially if you're going up against a team who has just a tremendous offense like Toronto, just an incredible front line. You gotta have that. You gotta have that 2 layers of brick walls.
Yeah, you have to have that it factor. I felt like they didn't have that. Another thing about the 5th game and the third game. So the 3rd game of the series and the 5th game of the series, Toronto came out really flat and tired, and it cannot be said enough how tired and unmotivated they looked to get the much needed wins. And that's another problem that the coaching staff has to come to, which is one of my next points. Again, I don't think Babcock was the problem.
Oh God! Before we get into that, because I have so many things to say about this.
It is so relevant.
Since we just mentioned Columbus defense and Tampa, that game's going on right now. That game started 4 hours ago.
Yeah,
they just went to triple overtime.
It's a
my God.
They just started triple overtime. That's absurd.
Wow.
And the Columbus coach is not really that good.
No.
Let's be honest.
No. Here's the thing about John Tortorella. So my buddy Tyler, who's been on the show before, and him and I talk like a lot of stat stuff now and then. He mentioned this to me. John Tortorella is a coach that does not give a crap about conventional thinking when it comes to hockey. Because remember, this man has won a Stanley Cup with the Tampa Bay Lightning when he was their head coach in 2004. Like, he knows a thing or two. He was the head coach for the U.S. national team for all those Olympic years. Granted, silver medals and lost them to Babcock, but he knows a thing or two. And I think for what it's worth, there was definitely a huge showing in coaching difference between him and Sheldon Keefe.
Yeah, for sure. That is.
Now, Babcock, on the other hand, had he still been the coach of this team going into this, I don't know what the hell would have happened at that point. It might have been a sweep for the Jackets. We don't know. Babcock might not even know.
No, Babcock. It's hard to speculate.
Sorry, but the age-old question now that the people were asking after he had gotten fired, heading into the COVID break and heading into what is now, was Babcock really the problem? I don't think so. I don't think he was. Because you saw, when he got fired and Keefe came in, yeah, they were winning games, but they still looked like a mediocre team. They still looked like a team that didn't know what exactly they were supposed to do.
You're accurate with those statements. It's true. They look like a mediocre team.
And and Sheldon Keefe, God bless him for trying in his basically first year with the team. He got put up in November, but he's tried to make the team a more family-oriented group. Like he's tried to know the guys a little better. And granted, he coached a lot of them when they were on the Marlies, but the only way I can put this is the coaches, the management, Kyle Dubas, Brendan Shanahan, all these guys, they can do everything they can to make sure that this team is good. But at the end of the day, it's the players on the ice that make the difference. And the players that we saw on the ice in those 5 games were very much not the Toronto Maple Leafs that people have been hoping for 50-something years and counting.
What the Leafs do need is a very stern leadership. That's what Babcock was saying, and nobody listened to him. And you get into these situations where you're down 2-1, you're down or you're tied 2-2 in a series, and you need somebody who's gonna right the ship and tell guys who are at the same level, like Tavares, rally the troops and get them to follow in one page. And this brings me back to the 2015 Stanley Cup playoffs when Chicago was playing Anaheim and was literally on the brink of elimination for 2 games. Not a lot of people remember those series, but Captain Serious righted the ship with a brand new draft pick in Brandon Saad and an eager to play rest of the cast. So what I'm basically trying to say right now is
No, it's fine.
is
Yeah.
like, my memory's getting kind of hazy, but what
Yeah,
I'm trying to
it's
say
fine. It's been
is
a
that
while.
you need that stern leadership. As much as Joe Quenneville's a really fantastic coach and he knows how to get into players' minds and get them to think about hockey and really play chess out there. The Patrick Kanes and the Taves of the world are not always going to score goals. You need those fourth lines and those third lines to step up. And that's exactly what didn't happen in both series with Edmonton Oilers and with Toronto Maple Leafs. You can say a lack of experience, but it's also who's coaching your team, who's captaining your team, who's the voice of reason. I can tell you right now, in that locker room, there is none. It should be Austin Matthews, but
It
it's
should
not.
be Tavares. Why do you think they paid him $11 million a
They've
year?
been paying all of them. I mean, like, Taves was only 22 when he got captain, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say, really. To be quite
The
honest.
honest Toronto answer right now.
Yeah, I don't know what
yeah.
to say.
I think
Hey,
depth-
you know what? At least we have the Raptors to look forward
Exactly.
to. I think that's something that Toronto has
um
to look forward to.
Are we going to see a trade anytime soon?
we have to. We have to.
Who are we trading and why?
Oh God. So
This is like speculation time for us.
this is where the speculation really begins.
Go for it.
I've been seeing people go crazy on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and we're the same hockey pundits, so to speak, just diehard fans that are like, trade this guy, fire this guy, yada 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 yada. There's a large consensus of people saying that if Kyle Dubas wants to show this team that he is not happy with the results,
Tyson Berry.
Mitch Marner.
Oh.
No.
Mitch Marner.
I love that kid.
Barry's a UFA. He's probably leaving anyways.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, he was not working out in his season.
No.
At
And that's,
all.
the unfortunate reality of it is Barry, I think, the hopes and prospect of him when the Kadri trade happened, I'm still mad that it happened, but then again, Colorado's doing well.
He just didn't
so
mesh.
It just didn't work out well, at the end of the day, which is a shame. Barry would have been had he fit the kind of team that Toronto is, I
Yeah.
think it would have worked, but just
Which
didn't work.
just goes to prove the saying past performance does not indicate future results.
No.
Yeah, that's true.
No.
I would say I would get rid of John Tavares as soon as possible.
Well, he's got a no movement clause. So unless he waives it, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, isn't he a Saga Man's?
He's also a Saga man's. Mitch is from Saga.
Yeah, Mitch is here.
Yeah, Mitch is also from Saga. So
Man, I feel like it's either Austin's running the team or there is no team, because Austin doesn't want to take orders either. You can tell in his demeanor, he doesn't want to take anything. He has his own ideas.
Which might be why he clashed so much.
Yeah, there is a
Yeah.
clash, and I don't
Babcock.
agree with anybody speculating on Austin Matthews getting traded. That is by far one of the dumbest things I think
I think
that can
that's the
happen in
last
sports.
possible thing that would happen in this team.
That's a new draft. That's the number 1 draft pick we're talking
Yeah.
about right now.
I mean, Tavares was a number 1 draft pick.
Yeah,
But
the
that
dude's
was
in his
2009,
30s. Yeah,
so-
dude's in the 30s. I was all for it when they signed him. I just thought he would have a bigger impact than this. Now I'm looking at it. I'm like, yeah, he probably does have to go, just so this kid can grow up. Like these kids, Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, they just have to grow up a bit, and that's what Babcock is talking about.
No, well, they're just children, and
They are.
we gotta
They
deal with
are.
the children.
You got Mitch going on CB24 with his girlfriend. I don't even saying, oh yeah, so I haven't really been doing that much hockey practice, but I've still been doing that much hockey practice. Like, dude, come on, I get you're in COVID, but don't you want something?
Yeah.
Don't you want the silverware?
Yeah, especially in the city that you're playing in.
Yeah.
Where? Yeah.
No.
You can see my frustration. Like Babcock was right.
You know, it's really funny. Before we started the show, Parse was asking me, like, am I still mad? Oh, and I said no, but I realize now as we're going on with this, like, we're a lot more frustrated than we really think we are. But we're easing it up. But one thing I think people have been talking about with the Leafs now is who do you trade? Who do you give up? What do you do? Because their season's over. There's a lot of guys they're probably going to have to let go of. You know, Tyson Barrie's going to walk a free agent. There's no way they're re-signing him. He probably doesn't want to re-sign to Toronto. You have, guys like Jason Spezza, 36-year-old veteran, I believe he is. And, he came to his hometown team because he wants to win a cup in Toronto. He put out a fight in Game 1 because he stands up and he believes in this team. He is the voice that the Maple Leafs needed, and they didn't listen. The question is he going to stay for another year to try and do it again? Freddie Anderson.
Yeah,
it's his last year.
That's a guy that
on contract with the Leafs.
We may need to get some value out of.
I don't think they're going to re-sign him.
We have to get some value out of him.
Over 30.
We had a trade in 2011. Decent. We traded for Tuukka Rask, right? So we could have had Tuukka Rask.
Tuukka was Toronto's draft pick. That was 2004.
2004.
Tuukka was Toronto's draft pick, and the irony of it, Steve Dangle explains it so well. John Ferguson Jr., when he was still GM of the Leafs, he traded Tuukka Rask's rights to the Boston Bruins for Andrew Raycroft. Raycroft only lasted about 3 or 4 years at the Leafs and then left. Now, Tuukka is the starting goaltender of the Bruins. Andrew Raycroft is their color commentator for NBC Boston. And John Ferguson Jr. is president of the Bruins.
And they have a ring. Like, Tuukka Rask actually has a ring. I think he was on the bench when Thomas got it for them.
Yeah.
And they almost got one if it wasn't for St. Louis last year.
Yeah.
So think about that.
Yeah.
What a sad.
As a Leafs fan, what are we doing?
Like, the Toronto Maple Leafs have gotten our hopes up so many times over the last
you talk about those
20
messages.
Years.
Like we have a Facebook group.
Yeah, we talk about this in our Facebook
Our hearts
group
are in our mouth. Like, as a Toronto fan, and I'm sure a lot of Toronto fans can agree with this, your heart's in your mouth. I think 12 times in a game and like 108 times in a series.
It
is such a roller coaster.
It is. And, from the Toronto Maple Leafs trade for Phil Kessel. Hooray!
Yeah,
the Toronto Maple Leafs trade for Dion Phaneuf. Hooray!
Hooray!
Hooray! We have a star defenseman. Dion Phaneuf is injured. Boo! We're trading Phil Kessel to the Penguins. Why? Yeah. We got Austin Matthews. Hooray! We got Marner. Hooray!
Hooray.
Anderson. Hooray!
Hooray.
Tavares.
Yeah, let's go.
What the hell is going on?
I don't know.
Stop getting our hopes up.
I think at this time we should probably talk about the rest of the league because other surprises.
I want to, Anton, thoughts, talks?
You know what? I'm going to say it. I think we should just start making currently what seems to be incredibly bonehead decisions just to see if they work out. Because we've tried doing things that seem like a good idea.
I don't know. Signing 4 forwards to a combined $41 million seems like a pretty bonehead decision to me.
I think they were drunk that night.
Probably.
I think we should just do more crappy decisions just to see what happens. Let's just
sign Freddie
start
to 5 years.
I think it's time we just start throwing stuff at the wall and just seeing what sticks,
If there's anything the Maple Leafs need to do right now, number 1, figure out what the problems actually are. Number 2, please sign actual defensemen.
You know what team actually did throw stuff at the wall and see if it works? Calgary.
Kind of did.
And I guess it kind of stuck.
It kind of worked out.
Stick.
Yeah, like the past season.
Yeah. I mean, look at St. Louis last year, right? They were last place, and they were like, what do? Throw something at wall? Bring in 4th-string goaltender Jordan Binnington. He's okay. Wins them a cup.
Dude, that is...
Like, come on. We have a sign outside of our city for him. I want one for McDavid. I want one for Marner.
Yeah,
please?
Montreal is into the next round. Big surprise there.
which is crazy. Like
It's
this is a
crazy.
world turned upside down.
Dude,
Got
it was-
Vancouver
that
in the
was-
next round.
That was
Vancouver, yes.
Vancouver.
They weren't even supposed to be in the playoffs. They were not like who was the Vancouver was it the mayor or the premier? He said when asked about whether Vancouver would be a hub city, he said, "Well, we're not sure, but we're just glad that the Canucks are finally in the playoffs. It took an entire pandemic for it to happen, but we are very glad that
an
it
honest
happened."
answer.
But the Canucks, you look at their team and they're getting better. They're getting better every year. They got a lot of really good young guys. They're goaltending. Markstrom and Thatcher Demko doing really, really well now. Defensively, they got Quinn Hughes, and that kid's a stud. That kid's an absolute stud. Yeah, Vancouver, they're gonna be a good, like an actually better team.
How do you
in
feel
a
about the
few years.
series though that they're in right now? How do you feel about it?
They're playing who? They play St. Louis. That's gonna be fun. I think at the end, it's gonna be for that series. It's gonna be whether or not the Vancouver offense can figure out Jordan Binnington.
That would be something.
Yeah.
They
And
answered
also
question.
St. Louis defense, because St. Louis has got some pretty good defensive
We
end.
got Montreal getting the next round, and
Montreal, they only got in because Carey Price decided to be a god again.
and I think he's going to continue to do that.
I think they're gonna lose.
But they might, it might
Yeah.
prove to be too much.
Yeah,
So it looks
do
good.
they have a good backup?
Montreal has a backup goalie? No, seriously.
Montreal's a team.
Montreal has an actual. I thought it was just Price. What?
Man, it's also something else when you find out Calgary's in there still.
Yeah.
Chicago took a spot from Vegas, and opinions on that, I think it would be a fun series for Chicago and Vegas. I feel like Chicago's still in a bit of an underhand in that one, just because we're not as like Vegas has such a great counterattack system. It is unbelievable. And to beat that, you're gonna have to be really, really fast and really good on defense. And I don't feel Chicago's amazing on defense. They did really well in Edmonton, but I feel like it was because there was only really one line to worry about,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and just a lack of experience. This is a Vegas team that is experienced,
Yeah.
and they have multiple lines that are coming at you, so it's going to be a different type of vibe.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
if Chicago
so-
is going to win this series, it's going to be on the backs of somebody who's going to be a superhero. And I mean, not just the goaltending in Crawford, but a superhero like Patrick Kane scoring 6 or 7 goals in this series
Yo,
alone.
Dominic Kubalik looked really good.
He did. He looked like
that
he's
first
been
round
there
against
for 3
Edmonton.
years.
Yeah, and he's
took
only
the spot
a
of
rookie.
Patrick Shaw.
Yeah, and he's only a rookie. Like, damn.
Yeah, the goals he
Um,
scored in just being in front of the net causing havoc was great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
What else is there? Oh, the Carolina Hurricanes are playing the Bruins.
Yeah, that's
Where
a
is
fun
that?
one. I think
Yeah.
everybody should watch that series and the Columbus series very closely.
Yeah.
Those are fun ones. You can't really predict what's going to happen. Carolina's really good.
I really want to see Columbus and Carolina, actually.
I would too.
I want to just...
That's a defensive
Two
nightmare.
flamboyant teams, really good on defense, not really good on offense, not really big
Are you
names.
Carolina offense? Carolina offense is nuts.
Against that team of Columbus, who's well coached.
We'll see.
It'd be
We'll have
fun.
to see.
Plus, nobody wants to see the Bruins again, honestly.
I
Yeah,
don't.
it's
We're
kind
bored
of like
of it.
seeing the
We're gonna-
Patriots at the Super Bowl again. You're
Yeah.
just like, again?
Or the Red Sox in the playoffs, or
Yeah.
any New England team. Doing
Yeah,
well.
really.
Damn it. Like,
Or the Knicks at the bottom.
it kind of sucks knowing that the hub teams
Yeah,
aren't going to
gone.
be carrying
Yeah.
on, but at the same time, looking at every other team that's involved,
And the series, the way
playoffs?
they look competitive.
yeah,
They look
these
unique.
teams are looking actually competitive now.
The fact that Vancouver's actually playing,
yeah,
it's fun to see.
people thought that the play-in qualifier series for every grouping was going to be like a joke. Like, they're not going to play well. Like, some of the best hockey I've seen some of those teams play.
I think everyone just sort of took it for granted.
Yeah,
They just thought it was just going to be people who made the predictions, like us.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure like 80% of 95% of people's brackets are gone.
Oh, yeah.
Are gone.
oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't
I did
even
not
know if
pick
there's a
Chicago
single
to
bracket
win.
left. Maybe like one person who just like, threw darts at,
Probably. Just
did
like-
one of those like random assignment, like got a his pet dog to or his pet cat to
Yeah.
just like choose the bracket. Like,
Yep.
I think these high profile teams just sort of thought that, like, yeah, this is gonna be no problem. This is a team that we can beat, no problem. And then the underdog decided, like, we got to take this super seriously, and so
It's like,
I guess that's what happened.
yeah, at the end of the day,
Mom spaghetti.
Mom spaghetti. At the end of the day, Zach Castian, one of the forwards for Edmonton, after they got eliminated, he had said this: "You try as hard as you can." I'm paraphrasing here, but you try as hard as you can, because at the end of the day, you're not playing for anything else but the Stanley Cup, and you have to earn it. You have to work for it. The Oilers, at the end of the day, did not earn that right to contend for something that historic. But for the other teams that did, for all these teams that we looked at as underdogs, as Anton says, they have earned their right. Like, genuinely. As much as people want to say, like, oh, but upsets here and there. Yeah, they're upsets. But at the end of the day, what? They won. No flukes, no missed calls, nothing.
Yeah, they worked hard.
Yeah.
Oh man, that the defenseman of the Jackets that game, game 5, they were like, every time it crossed over the center line, they were on them like white on rice.
Oh yeah.
They did not let anything happen. I remember seeing like Martis skated past the center line, and then there were like 3 guys on him. They're like, no, we're not letting this happen. No way. And then they got a brick wall.
Yeah,
in
it
Corpusalo.
helps when you got a good brick wall playing in your net. But that's the thing. It's like you figure out what your opponents are good at when it comes to offense. And for the Leafs, you focus on the core 4. Okay, you focus on the fact that they're flashy, and they like making good tricks and breakaways. None of them are snipers.
One of the keys for the Detroit Red Wings when they won the cup, they had a couple snipers on their team.
Yes, we did.
And
that was a fun time.
They were really dangerous.
But that was 12 years ago.
Where's Toronto picking in the draft? And
Well, no one knows yet, but they did decide who's getting first.
Yes, they did.
The New York Rangers are going to be picking first overall.
And kind of needed with Henrik Lundqvist and everybody looking kind of like they need a spark.
Yeah, they're going to pick Lafreniere.
He's kind of tired.
He's getting tired.
He's
I mean,
getting to the
the
end.
goalies they got underneath him that are coming up, Igor Shesterkin and Alex Georgiev, I think they'll be good. They're definitely the future goaltending tandem, and even the King, even Henrik realizes it's not his team anymore, which is good. I'm glad there's a good passing of the torch there. But the Leafs, they don't deserve a draft pick. They don't. They don't deserve anything at this point. Screw them. I don't know. We'll see how things go with the draft. There's a massive rumor that New York might try to trade the first pick.
Wow.
To Ottawa and get their third and fifth overall picks out of it.
Well, knowing Ottawa, they'll still figure out a way to screw it up.
I know, that's the problem, right? Like, Ottawa will still somehow find a way to mess everything up. Like, they have so much promise, and yet
the Battle of Ontario continues.
And the only winner here is Montreal. Not even in Ontario.
Yeah, somehow.
But the end of the day, there's hockey that's being played, and they're doing a good job with it. Yeah, they're keeping everyone safe. The bubble's been working out pretty well. Players are making their vlogs, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So, it's a fun time. It's not the Leafs' time.
Yeah.
Kind of wish it was.
Will it ever be?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
I'm just finishing off on this and just thinking about it. It's like, I think this is the question we'll end off on, but.
How many rebuilding seasons?
Yep.
Are we just in perpetual rebuilding?
Probably.
To the end of time.
I saw this video on YouTube. It was just talking about various Canadian myths about Canada. One of them is like, that your the Canadian bills smell a little bit like maple syrup, stuff like that. And then I wrote down like the biggest myth is that the Toronto Maple Leafs will get him next year.
It's the biggest myth.
That's our biggest myth. We're just in constant rebuilding.
So there was a if you watch YouTube videos way too much like I do sometimes in my free time, if you know Urinating Tree, one of my favorite YouTube accounts out there for sports, great guy, lovely dude. from what I've heard. He just released his video about the Toronto Maple Leafs today. It's 41 minutes long, and he goes through the history from 1968 to now. Yeah, since they last won the Cup in 67 all the way to now, and how like ridiculous things have been. And he mentioned something really interesting that I've never thought about because I don't think about this. You know that old joke that people say where it's like, what did the little boy do after the Maple Leafs won the Stanley Cup? Turned his PS2 off? Mm-hmm. Like that old joke? He mentioned something really interesting. The closest that the Toronto Maple Leafs, quote unquote, have gotten to the Stanley Cup in the last 53 years was in that Mike Myers movie, The Love Guru.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Oh.
Because the plot of that movie is about him helping the Toronto Maple Leafs try to win the Stanley Cup using all these innuendos, and God, that movie was bad, but yeah, that was the closest, technically, quote unquote, that the Maple Leafs have gotten to the Cup.
Wow.
What a joke of a fucking team. Like,
yikes.
Seriously?
Big yike. That's a big yike right there. Oh, man. Yeah, it's... Wow. You know what? 1967. Toronto was celebrating Canada's centennial, 100 years of Canada. I guess we'll have to wait until 2067.
For the Leafs to win?
When we are... how old will we be? We'll be
in our...
We'll be 70.
Oh,
We'll be 70, 71.
Yep.
I'll tell you one thing. As a Cubs fan who's gotten that, when it does happen, this city will be in tears, and will really weep. Not because it took so long, but because it finally actually happened. But it's legendary if it ever happens here, because man, that parade that party will last.
Hey, it'll last a week, a month. It'll be like longer than Indian weddings. So here's my question. And people have talked about this, and analysts on Sportsnet and TSN are talking about it, and of course Steve Dangle's yelling about it because Steve.
Yeah.
But
Steve.
Do you think they should just blow the entire team up?
I feel like quite possibly.
Like just hit the reset button and be like, nope.
I mean,
we start off with all new guys.
Yep.
The reason why I'm against this is because they did this already twice.
So then what's the alternative?
Like,
stop being a team.
Yeah.
Play field hockey.
Yeah. Play lacrosse. Sell the team to another city. Sell the team to Wisconsin or something.
When they did this after Carolina broke their hearts, like it was good, but they just made some bad decisions along the way. When they did this a second time, which was like 2010, 2011, 2012, with Dion, and then of course Dion Phaneuf and everybody else, Phil Kessel leaving after a while, but it really started like 2012. It was good. I feel like the team that they assembled because of those two blow-ups is like a really good product, but again, there has to be that drive. So I wouldn't say that they have to blow it up. I just, like I said, somebody needs to be an authoritative figure in there. Maybe if that doesn't work, look at the block. Like really take a look at the 2010 and 2013 seasons.
For the Blackhawks?
For the Blackhawks. Just take a look at, like, Toronto reminds me so much of that team.
Lest we forget, by the way, fun fact, the Chicago, I almost said Toronto Blackhawks. You know, why not? They might win.
They might. I mean, I'm hoping.
The Chicago Blackhawks in I think it was their 2013 win, had 3 contracts that were technically illegal.
Technically.
Yeah. But they made sacrifices to make it happen, and then we're like, oops.
Because they knew they had a phenomenal coach. They had a captain that was serious. They had 2 goal scorers with like insane puck ability. Yeah. They had an enforcer, which I still don't know who is on the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm sorry. I don't know who that is.
I mean, it's...
It was Shaw. That was the name I was forgetting.
You'd think Andrew Shaw.
Yeah, Andrew Shaw was the name I was forgetting earlier.
You'd think it's Jason Spezza, but like...
I don't know who your enforcer is, so it's confusing. And then on top of that, Chicago had an all-star goaltender, and that is Frederik Andersen, but maybe the window is gone.
But he doesn't have the defense in front of him.
I mean, I've been saying that for Toronto fans since 2010.
That's why they signed Muzzin and Barry.
Why can't they get like defensemen?
Yeah.
To slide in and get block shots. I don't know how that's that hard. O'Reilly, I think that's his name is. He was a
Morgan Riley.
Morgan Riley. He was like a top draft pick. He's really good.
Yeah.
But he's undisciplined. I gotta tell you, that shift change what happened in Game 5 with that goal was primarily his fault because he went in on the rush. Because he's undisciplined. He did exactly what Brent Sigva did in that Red Wing series that made me tear my hair out and then go into overtime. But luckily, Seabrook made up for it.
I'm still mad at you for that.
Game 7s.
I'm still mad at you.
We gotta
for
love
that.
him, don't we?
It's been like 8 years and I'm still mad at you for that. We can go on about this for hours. We're not going to do that right now. But I think final thoughts, as far as I know, it's final thoughts. The Toronto Maple Leafs have to do something. And I know people say this every year, every season, no matter who they lose to, whether it be the Bruins, the Washington Capitals, the Bruins again. Something has to be done. And there's a massive problem that MLSC just isn't either seeing or don't want to pay attention to. When they got rid of Babcock, when they thought he was the problem, didn't really fix that much. They signed all these forwards. Not a lot of progress yet, and the window's closing. Okay, Tavares is 5 years on his contract. Matthews, Marner, and Nylander have 4 each. 4 or 5 years left. That window will close faster than we think. Defense, the only credible defensemen we got are Morgan Riley and Jake Muzzin. Barry's leaving. Get Cody Ceci and Martin Marinson out of there. They shouldn't be on that team. They got some good prospects in the Marlies, but will they call him up? We don't know. And then Freddie. He's got a year left. He's over 30. I don't think he's worth the risk of signing for more than a year or two. Don't really have a lot of potential backup goalies or potential starters to replace him. I don't know. I really don't know. Final thoughts, boys?
Yeah, I'm gonna say what we always say. We're just rebuilding. We're gonna rebuild. We'll get them next year. I think we should. Like I said, I think we just got to do something crazy. Maybe even like undo our mistakes. Rehire Babcock. Get Kadri back. Kick out. Get Kadri back. And most importantly, we got to sign David Ayers. That man got a 100% win record against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Yeah. So I think we gotta right these wrongs.
Yeah,
we gotta right these wrongs. We just gotta do something stupid.
I think the problem is if you're Nazem Kadri, if the Avalanche win this year, he's staying in Colorado. He's not leaving. He's such a good fit on that team too.
Even if they don't.
Yeah, I think actually Colorado is probably gonna make it to the finals.
It's a great fit for him.
Colorado is actually a really good fit for him and his play style. But
final thoughts. You got to develop a winning culture, and it's give the Leafs credit. It's really hard to do right now. They have a ton of pressure. But yeah, I agree. Something does need to change, and it starts from the locker room all the way to the top. Management has to think of ways to save, get under the cap, and also make some really good choices. And that's going to take maybe a year and a half to fix. And best of luck. You'll get him next year, Leaf fans.
We keep saying
we need
that.
Jen on here. I just want to hear what Jen has to think. Jen, if you're listening to this, I really want to just talk to you about how you feel.
Yeah, we should have got.
We should have
invited Jen. Dude, we should have also invited
Seema,
Seema, our other friend, who's a huge Habs fan.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah,
I should congratulate her on the.
I didn't have to.
My boss is a Habs fan, and I was congratulating him when I saw him.
Seema texted me. Hi, Seema, if you're listening to this. She texted me the second the Montreal Canadiens won their series, and all the text said was, suck it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, that's our alarm.
Yeah, that's our alarm. We got to wrap this up. This has been the Sportculation Podcast. I hate you, Toronto Maple Leafs. Signing off, Mr. Yusuf, Roshd, Anton, Wong, and Parse Cottrell. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Goodbye.
See ya.